It's no secret that the state of education in our times has become dire. Despite an endless march of government programs intended to salvage failing educational systems, our young people are increasingly leaving 12 or more years of school with only the barest level of literacy, mathematical incompetence, total ignorance of history and ideas, and a paralyzing lack of ability to reason clearly and methodically. Even those fortunate enough to experience one of the better school systems find themselves woefully lacking when they engage with the higher-minded writings and ideas that come to us from previous ages. College is hardly a remedy for this, as so many graduates find themselves loaded with debt and still unable to secure the lucrative and fulfilling jobs that were advertised, much less feel themselves in possession of that wisdom and mastery that was the hallmark of university education in centuries past. Increasingly, parents have been turning to homeschooling, but who can say where the recent upheavals will drive education in the near future? But can transferring the modern educational model into the home really turn back the decay of our minds and intellectual competency? Or is the whole philosophical foundation deeply flawed, a sickly tree that will always bear rotten fruit? Our current methodology of education is quite young, arising only in the recent past for the express purpose of transforming education into the most effective pipeline for social engineering. The men who crafted this system wanted something very specific, a product. Generations of students who can be commoditized as workers and consumers. Is it any wonder that wisdom and a coherent, comprehensive worldview operating through a careful and deeply rational mind has slipped out of the sales pitches for our institutions of learning, being replaced instead by budgets and tantalizing job prospects? Is it surprising that young minds formed in this industrial model will be perfectly conditioned to accept narratives uncritically, to find solace in mindless entertainment, and to prioritize conformity and popularity over truth, goodness, and beauty? There is a solution. The ancients developed a comprehensive philosophy and methodology of education that was rigorous, profound, and fundamentally unified. It was passed down in the trivium and quadrivium, the classical liberal arts which form minds with unparalleled excellence. It was the foundation on which the great universities were built centuries ago, and offered a consistent, well-trodden pathway to wisdom and understanding that was traveled by the greatest minds in history, century after century. There is no wheel to reinvent. We have the text that they wrote and taught. We have the sequence of progression, codified in works like the Ratio Studiorum from 1599. This system of learning gave us the books, libraries, schools, and scholars that produced the highest achievements of civilization, from building the cathedrals to unlocking the secrets of nature, to creating the most astonishing masterpieces of art, literature, and music. The wise men and women who walked this path for centuries were scholars, kings, emperors, statesmen, and saints. They studied a corpus of texts, comprehensive in breadth, profound in depth, that taught the knowledge and powers of reason that may be said to be representative of a truly educated person. These were not disjointed topics to be memorized and regurgitated, but a panoply of insights into a worldview that was fundamentally unified and complete. The Logos of the Greek philosophers and the Christian Gospels, that unitary wisdom that is the blueprint of the human mind and the transcendental principle of the whole cosmos, is studied and reverenced throughout, from the study of language and logic that express and order the symbols and ideas of reality, to the transcendental truths encapsulated in numbers and proportion, space, sound, and light. This system is a true unified field theory, which has eluded the grasp of modern scientists, but has been present and available all along to those who look. My name is Joel Trumbo. I was homeschooled, and my parents were both teachers with a strong familiarity with the classical tradition. I served 11 years in the military, with numerous deployments as an Army Ranger. When I had children of my own, I wanted them to have access to this time-tested and superior educational philosophy and methodology, but it was very difficult to find anything put together that would take them through the whole thing systematically. Now, as a father of 8 and a teacher at the classical school where my own children attend, I wanted to put together and offer a path through these great texts for other students, parents, or self-learners who wanted the same thing that I did. The Studium Project is not a homeschool program or curriculum. It is simply my own progression through the texts that formed the corpus of this great classical patrimony. My hope is to organize, explain, and help the student gain the contextual insight they need to engage these texts with a deep level of understanding, accompanying them down the path of the ancient arts, less as a teacher and more as a guide, like Virgil with Dante. With weekly lessons where we actually read the texts, forums for discussion, and resources for parents or self-educators, I hope that this will be a valuable resource that is as convenient as it could be to start undoing some of the damage modern education has done to nearly all of us. Please consider supporting this project. The more support I get, the more time and resources I can devote to improving and increasing the output of this project, which could be a life-changing resource for those who want to find their way back to these ancient roads of wisdom.